Hello, and welcome to training on how to create a listing transaction as an office administrator within your IQ office. To begin, log into your IQ office. Then go to the Financial tab on the left-hand side of your screen and up to the Transactions dashboard. This will open your main transactions dashboard. From your main dashboard, you can start a transaction for a listing by scrolling down and seeing the Listings Without Transactions box and clicking the plus button next to the listing that you wish to start the transaction for. Please note that a listing transaction is made to track the paperwork needed by the office for all active listings. You can also start a listing transaction by going to the Transactions tab at the top of the screen and clicking the plus listing button to start the listing transaction. From here, search the MLS by typing in the MLS number of the listing. Choose the listing that you wish to start the transaction for. The information for the listing will auto-populate from MLS. You will need to enter the listing expire date in order to move on with the transaction. Underneath the Details tab, choose the transaction type. If there is a manager associated with the transaction, a listing or buying coordinator, as well as the checklist applied to the listing. There are additional fields that you can add to the transaction depending on your office preferences. Anything that shows a red line next to it is a required field. After you've entered in all the information as an overview of the transaction, click Next. On the financial screen, you will verify all the financial information about the transaction. Add the listing and buying commission and click the calculator in order to have the commissions calculate correctly. If there are special instructions, you can enter them into the listing special instruction box. If there are referrals associated with the listing, you can click the plus button next to referrals in order to enter in all the information about the referral, including the buyer or seller name, the network type, a code, and the referral amount. Once you've entered in the referral amount, click the calculator in order to have the referral amount populate. Once you've entered in all the information, click the Finish button in the lower right-hand corner to exit back to the main transaction dashboard. If there are deductions or additional income from the listing, you can enter them in a similar way to the referrals that you entered above. Once you've verified all financial information, click the Next button to go to the next screen. On this screen, you will associate all the people associated with the listing and attach them to the transaction. To begin, start with the agent for the listing. You can type the agent name and it will pull a list of people from your office to automatically be entered. Their commission plan will auto-populate. If it doesn't, or if for a certain transaction they're on a different plan, you can always choose from the drop-down choices available to you. Below the commission plan are options for the transaction. If the award percentage is different than 100%, if they are part of a team, if they are working on a transaction, you can change all the options. If you do not want the income from the transaction to count towards their commission plan, be sure to select No underneath Included as Income. Verify all the information underneath the calculations and then click Finish to have the agent attached to the transaction. If you need to edit information that you have added, you can always click the Actions button next to the person and then reopen the Edit screen. Make your changes and click Finish to go back to the main People screen. Add the seller information by clicking the plus button next to buyers or sellers. Type the contact name into the buyer-seller name box to have information auto-populate from all customer relations within IQ Office. verify the information, and click Finish. If you need to add someone who is not in an agent's IQ office, simply click the plus button next to the buyer or seller name and manually enter their information in. The contact information will automatically be entered into the agent's Customer Relations tab. You can add title vendors, mortgage vendors, warranty vendors, lawyer, or other vendors in a similar fashion to how you added the buyers and the sellers. Simply click the plus button next to the vendor you wish to add, and then type the vendor name into the box and choose the vendor from the list. If the vendor that you need is not in the list of vendors already populated, click the plus button on the right-hand side to add the vendor to the transaction. Once you've entered all agents, clients, and vendors to the transaction, click on the next tab to see an overview of the entire transaction. After you've reviewed and finalized all information, click the Finish button to open the main transaction edit screen. This has been training on how to start a listing transaction within IQ Office. We are in the business of helping you to work smarter, and we hope you make it a great day.